Hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about major religions of the world. So, I'm going to try to categorize this video because my brain can't just talk about religions. I need to build them in the categories. So, we're going to talk about multiple god religions. Then we're going to talk about singular god religions. Then we're going to talk about no god religions, and we're going to make fun of the no god religions just a little bit. I'm not going to make fun of all of them. I'm just going to make fun of some of them. Because there is one ideology that I think both my brothers are, but one of them's a socialist. I know that. I have a brother that's a extreme socialist. And so I want to drill that. I want to make fun of that ideology. But before we do that, we're going to talk about the multiple god religions first. We're going to talk about my favorite multi-god religions to my least favorite. So I guess my favorite one would probably be the Irish multiple god religion, the Irish paganism. Pretty cool. I'm actually named after one of the pagan gods. If you didn't know, Aiden is a pagan god name. Means fire god. So apparently related to the fire gods. At least they think so. Anyway, it's a rough translation because, again, the religion died out a couple hundred years ago. But Aiden's one of the remnants of that religion. Anyway, it's pretty cool. I just thought it was an interesting thing, so it's funny that I'm named after one of the gods. My brother Ares is related to the Greek gods, god of war, Ares. So, kind of cool that my parents just didn't care about Christianity enough to name us after Christian characters. They named us after freaking pagan characters, which is kind of funny. Not gonna lie. He's semi-socialist, but we're going to talk about the other ideology a little bit. But, okay. So, those are the pagan religions in Europe. You got the Baltic pagans, I know about them. You got the Germanic pagans. You got the Irish pagans, which are really related to nature. They really were in tune with nature. You got the Greek pagans. I know you had the Roman pagans. They had a lot of, they weren't really pagans. They were multi-god. I don't know what you called that religion, but Roman religion, whatever it was called. And then, of course, in India, you have Hinduism. And I don't know if Buddhism would fall under that. I think there might be I don't know if Buddhists and Hindus are two different things, or because I know Buddhism is more flexible of a religion than Hinduism, in my opinion, because there's just this word or whatever, they just use it. I heard about it. I don't know. I watched the whole video on it, but I didn't really understand. I think it's either a no god religion or multiple gods Buddhism, but I know Hinduism is multiple god religion. They like the cow. They worship cow, so they have they believe that the spirit of the people are in a cow. Very interesting kind of religion. I thought it was interesting. So, okay, we're gonna go on to the single god religions now. So we're gonna talk about the Christianities. So, we're going to talk about Catholics. So, Catholics have this guy named the Pope. He's the head honcho or whatever, head guy, right? My mom was a Catholic, so I was baptized as a Catholic, but I don't go to church at all. I don't really care that much, to be honest with you. I just don't. Catholic, they like the Pope. My dad was on the Protestant, so he's a different religion from my mom. They're both branches of Christianity, you got to remember that. But yes, my dad was a Protestant, so he studied English Protestantism instead of Catholicism. Catholicism's more Italian. I'd say my great grandfather was Italian. That's why my mom was a Catholic. My dad, on the other hand, his ancestors came from Wales and England, so they had English Protestantism was their main origin. Not Anglism, like the head of the church was the Queen, but Protestantism is all over the United States. It's you got the Mormons. I don't know if they're considered Protestant or if they're their own branch. I guess they're their own branch. But the Mormons aren't Catholic. You know what I mean? I can't really describe it. Another group of Protestants. They're the extreme version, the Amish. The Amish live in their own communities. They speak German. They interact with the English people, but only to do business. So all the English-speaking Amish people who don't speak Amish. Amish meaning German. The people who don't speak Amish, who interact with the English, are the ones that are the richest, generally. Although they all sort of share their wealth, so their religion's very wholesome, and they farm the fields, they don't go to war. They rarely interact with politics. Like, it's just not something they try to stay internally into their affairs. They don't ever want to expand outside of their own communities. They want to. The only way they make more members is if they have more kids. So that's sort of what they do for the Amish. It's very hard to become Amish, and honestly, I wouldn't want to become Amish. But they're very wholesome people. Most of them have light color hair like I do. Very interesting group of people. They speak German. I don't speak very good German. I don't even really speak German at all. I can read it a little bit, but I can't speak it at all. But yes, it's a pretty interesting community in the United States anyway. And then you have, Islam. Islam's one of the major religions. It's probably as big as Christianity, or maybe a little bit less, because I know there's multiple branches of Christianity. So if you disregard all the branches, it's probably slightly bigger than Catholicism, because Catholics, because if you think about, like, they have the Indonesian islands, which are just a huge population of Islam. They have, of course, India. 14% of India is Islam. They have so many. In China, they have the Uyghurs or Uyghurs. I don't know. They're in West China. The Uyghurs. They have, like, there's just so many Islamic countries, and then you got the Islamic Republic of Iran. You've got I don't know if Egypt's an Islamic Republic. It probably isn't, but maybe Syria is an Islamic Republic. I don't know about that. I believe Jordan's a kingdom. I believe Saudi Arabia is a kingdom. They're controlled by the House of Saudi. Which is kind of weird. It's like the nationality and the family are like the same thing. So you call yourself Saudi if you're from Saudi Arabia, but you're not related to the family of Saudi. It's so weird. I don't really understand that personally in Saudi Arabia, but whatever. And you got the UAE, which is a monarchy as well. It's the United Arab Emirates. Emirate is just a name for a ruler or a state. So basically, the people who control the emirate, I guess, would also be called emirates, which is kind of strange. So they're basically like mini kings, and then they have like a little election. These 7 kings will elect one of them to become president of the UAE. So president is one of the 7 kings of the UAE. Okay, we got Islam, branches of Christianity. Oh, Judaism. Judaism is probably my favorite out of the one God religions. I would say Judaism is up there in my opinion, in terms of just like, I don't know, the way they talk about money and debt, they seem so smart. Compared to the Christians, oh my. No wonder why people who are Judaism are richer, because they understand how money works. You listen to people who are Christian, and they don't know. I mean, I understand the United States is mostly Christian, but if you look at some of our richest people, they're Jewish. So, and I look at the scripture and the way they talk about money and the way they interact with money. And the people who believe in Judaism understand money way more. If I was born into a Jewish family, oh my, I'd be so rich. I'm kind of I guess my family's kind of well off, but I'd be way richer if my family would actually subscribe to what the Judaist people believe in, their interest rates and all that. They're very good with money. And again, they had to survive in Europe. The Jews had to survive for many years in Europe because they were bankers. They didn't have their own state to call themselves. They didn't have their own state that called themselves home, which is probably why National Socialism took place in Germany. We're not going to talk about that, but that was also another religion, National Socialism in Germany. We're not going to talk about that. We shouldn't talk about that because that's such an old religion. Nobody believes it anymore. It's not old, but it's just a terrible religion. Judaism, Islam, Christianity. I'm missing one, I think. One of the Abraham religions. Maybe I got all of them. I don't know. I just know that Christianity has multiple branches. Judaism, I think, has multiple branches. Islam, I believe, has multiple. They got Sudi, and then they got Sudi, and I forgot the other one. It doesn't matter. It's like 2 major branches of Islam. I don't know if there's more. Oh, you got Zoroastrianism, which is in Iran, but that's not really... Zoroastrianism, I think, is a multiple God religion, or a singular God religion. I'm not 100% certain. Okay. We're going to talk about the no God religions. So, atheism, it's fine. I really... If you're atheist, it's fine. Honestly, I believe in this whole ideal of, like, 2 gods, right? There's a God of births and there's a God of death. And in the 1800s, in the early 1800s, the God of birth finally gave out to the God of death. There were more people dying in the cities than they were living, than they were being born in the cities. There was more people moving to the cities. That's why the cities grew. But afterwards, the cities naturally grew by their birth rate. So I believe in this whole two God complex. Nobody believes in it. It's just a song I listened to, and I thought it was a very interesting concept about the two gods of death and birth. It's a very interesting concept. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that. Singular God, no God religion. So, the most evil of all no God religions is forms of socialism. Whether you're talking about the transition period to communism, or whether you're talking about National Socialism in Germany, or you're talking about Italian fascism. Well, I don't know if Italian fascism would count, because they did believe in the Vatican City. They signed the thing with the Vatican City. I don't know. Just like socialism is basically believing that the hierarchy, the wills of the hierarchy, is more important than the individual. So communists believe that their will should be forced upon equally to everyone. They want to equalize everybody, and they also want no state. But in order to form no hierarchies, you have to abolish all hierarchies using a massive state. That is what my brother believes, actually. My brother wants to get rid of all the United States and make one United State. And I told my brother, I'm like, this seems like a really dumb idea. This could actually create a dictatorship. He doesn't listen to me. He thinks, oh, no, don't worry. If the people who are in charge are good, then we shouldn't have any problems. But I disagree with the whole socialist mindset that if you create, basically it's a pyramid. You know, you have a lot of people on the base, and there's people at the top. The pyramid doesn't change. Like, there was a guy explaining the U.S. Constitution. He says the pyramid points down if there's a dictatorship. No, the pyramid just grows bigger on the top than it is on the bottom. That's what a dictatorship is. It should never be pointing down. There's always a base. A pyramid doesn't go flip upside down. That doesn't make any sense. So I was listening to this guy explaining the U.S. Constitution. I was like, this is dumb. That's not the way. Also, U.S. constitutionalism's in between one God and no gods, basically. I'm not saying that if you're a multiple God guy like I am, that you don't have to believe in the U.S. Constitution. Honestly, U.S. Constitution is a brilliant reading. I have it right here in my car, actually. U.S. Constitution. But again, we're gonna make fun of these freaking socialists because I'm tired of dealing with them online. They just don't understand anything. I'm reading their scripture right now. The new Constitution of the USSR. This is one of the major countries that was ruled by socialists/communism. They were run by a communist party, but they were a socialist state. Because they never fully achieved true communism. They were planning on abolishing the state in the 80s, and they kind of did, but it just created a bunch of countries by doing that. Again, it just clearly didn't work out. The central hierarchy just never works out to destroy all the hierarchies. You're just going to end up building a central hierarchy. So that is why fascism is considered honest socialism. That's what people mean by that, or post-Marxian socialism. Because honestly, socialism cannot exist without a hierarchy. It just can't. And in fact, the definition of socialism is a public needing of the public. Democracy itself, again, like I don't like the term democracy. It just rubs me the wrong way, you know. But yeah, these socialists believe in these stupid theories like the labor theory of value. Labor does not create value. It's demand that creates value. These socialists are so dumb. I'm dumbfounded. Okay, you think that your job is worth something. It's not. What's worth something is what people are willing to pay for. Like, why a soccer player makes more money, or a football player, or a basketball player makes more money than somebody who works at a warehouse like I do? It's because, right, if you think about it, he has more customers. He has more people looking at him on the TV. He's sexy as fuck, or whatever, right? He's a guy everyone wants to look up to, right? Guy everyone looks at, right? Look at me. I'm a dumbass guy. I'm a dumb guy working at a warehouse, right? Nobody cares about me, so that's why I make less money. It's all about how many viewers you make, or how many customers you have. That's the demand side of the equation. Socialists do not understand supply and demand at all. And that's the problem. The Austrian school is so much better. If communism and socialism is a religion, the Austrian school is on top, superior than pretty much all forms of economics. Maybe Chicagoans have us beat, but us Austrian economists and some of our Chicago economists they believe in subjective theory of value. They believe in supply and demand. They believe in, like for instance, right? Let's say you are in a poor country, right? And the only way to make money is diamonds because, I don't know, let's say it's a natural resource, right? You find a diamond on the ground and sell it for $10,000, or if you mine, which is easier, mining the diamond or seeing a diamond on the ground, right? Finding the diamond on the ground would probably be easier than mining it, right? But the same diamond sells for the same thing. So clearly the customer did not take into account that amount of labor, right? It's not cost that determine labor, it's demand that determines labor. That's the number one thing I hate about Chicagoans is they believe that costs determine labor, determine the cost of labor, and they believe in this weird thing like costs do not determine the value of something, it's demand that does. Sometimes it does, but for the most part, the Austrians are right in their theory that costs do not determine the demand and the cost of something. So, I mean, I'm just going to make fun of the socialists. You guys are just so dumb. Labor theory of value doesn't even work. Like, it got disputed in the 1800s. You guys are stuck in the 1800s in your thought process. You guys are so behind the times. You socialists, communists, whatever you guys call yourselves, are so behind the times. You're going to create major dictatorships. You're going to destroy our entire civilization, all for a dumb theory that doesn't even work. Labor theory of value never worked in the first place. Adam Smith tried to find the diamond paradox. He tried to fix it, but he couldn't. Ricardo couldn't. The only people who could solve the diamond paradox was the freaking Austrian economists. And that is why you socialists don't understand economics. Because you're not even willing to read Austrian economists. You call them racists because they live in a German-speaking country called Austria. I'm so dumbfounded. Like, seriously. The Austrian form of economics, yes, sure, they're not English-speaking. Okay, whatever. They got books translated in English. Do you guys understand how economics works? I don't know. I can't. These socialists are so dumb. And they think, everything is done by labor. No, everything's done by what the customer wants. The customer interacts with the CEO. The CEO tries to find out what the highest demand is, and then they allocate resources, the capital, correctly so the employees know what they're doing. Without that CEO communicating with the rest of the company, without that hierarchy structure, there would be no way to figure out what demand is. And that's also an economic calculation problem. Without prices, how can you calculate anything? These socialists also want to abolish money. They want to get rid of money some of them do. They want to get rid of the incentive that drives innovation forward. There's only two ways to work, two incentives to work. There's force and there's incentive working, money. Right? There's only two ways to incentivize work. And the socialists are willing to do force because they want to take all the rich people's money, give it to everybody else. But clearly, it's just not going to work out. It's just like, I don't know. I'm going to just make fun of it. It's just ridiculous how these socialists operate. And they operate in such a mob. And it's just crazy. And if you really think that workers are going to want to live in a society that they have to vote on everything, you really don't think about that? Like, I wouldn't want to vote on half the stuff that Amazon has. I just don't. Or half the stuff that I have to work for, at my warehouse job. So I work at a warehouse. I understand that work sucks, but that's the way life is. You have to just work, and you have to understand labor theory of value is wrong. It just is. If you read any normal economic literature at all, besides Karl Marx and all the socialist professors on freaking college campuses, if you go outside of college and you listen to what actual economists say, people with Chicago economist degrees and Austrian economist degrees, those two groups of people, the Alabama school, I think that's the Mises Institute in Alabama, very good school, and then you got the Chicago school, the freshwater economists. Again, listen to those two groups of people. Don't listen to these socialists. Listen to a completely different perspective on economics. Economics is not fixed. Okay, there might be a fixed amount of land on the world. Okay, I guess you could see that. But there's so many different ways to transform the land on the world that economics is nearly unlimited. The only way that economics goes down is if the population goes down and people stop having kids. And then that could be another thing, because we just don't incentivize, families or whatever. But, yeah, I spent way too much time ranting about socialism. I'm sorry, guys. I just think that my brother's whole no God religion, socialism, hurrah, hurrah religion, I just have to make fun of it. It's just stupid. I would rather make fun of that than Christianity, to be honest with you. Christianity, I don't really understand it either. I don't read the Bible. I don't care about religion, to be honest with you, that much. I wanted to make a video like politics, but with religion, and that's exactly what I've done. I believe these socialists are a religion, belief system's a religion because it's built on a false promise. Most religions, I would say. So, I mean, Christianity's better because it doesn't rely on a dictator most of the time. So, that's why Christianity's better. It relies on a God who you can't see. He's the dictator, technically. So, that's why I like Christianity. It's sort of a more noble religion because you're working for this being that's not as easy to comprehend. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on that. And I do like the idea that you are flawed and you have to fix yourself. I like that part of Christianity. But again, I have to make fun of these socialists. They're so dumb. And I've been reading the Soviet Constitution, and I'm just dumbfounded on how people believe this stuff. That this theory, even 30 years after it was disproved, the Soviets started making policies, and the economic calculation debate. It's no debate anymore. It's pretty much proven that you cannot calculate things without prices, without supply and demand. That costs don't always determine demand. It's just these socialists don't understand anything, and it's just sad. It really is. Anyway, you are someone, I'm someone else, talking about the major religions, the multi-god religions, the single god religions, and the no god religions. Signing out. Goodbye.